Welcome to our first programming lesson. So to get started in Visual Studio Code, once we have it running, if you haven't already, you can go down to search bar, type in Visual Studio Code, press enter, and that'll bring it open. We're going to go ahead and go to File, and create a new file, and we're going to give it a name. So for this, we're going to call it Hello World, and then you can press enter. It's going to prompt you to save it out of location. So I'm saving mine here, and it says all files with a dot here, which means that at the end of this, to make this a Python file that we can run with Python code, in the file name, we have to put a .py to make it a Python file type. And you can click Create File. Now we have our first Python code script right here. So there are some things we need to understand about programming. Here we have a line that's labeled 1. If I press enter, I can create a new line, create a whole bunch of new lines. In our code, whenever it runs, it starts at line 1. It goes from left to right when it's reading, and then it goes down to the next line. Reads left to right, down to the next line, etc., all the way down until it's finished reading the entire file. And the first thing we're going to learn is the print function, just like that. So a function in programming is basically a predetermined or pre-built piece of code that does something for us. And whenever we use these functions, we'll give it its name. In this case, it's print, P-R-I-N-T. And we put an open and closed parenthesis at the end of that. And this is the syntax for calling a function, which is to run a function. And this print function, it's asking for us to give it a message. And so I'm going to go ahead and put some quotes here and put a message in here for it to print. I'm just going to say, hello, world, just like that. Now, in order to run this file, we're going to have to save it. So we can either go to File and Save, or we can press Control S to save. Control S is typically faster. And if we noticed, for this X's, there was a white dot. If I modify this file, it'll come back. There it is. And that's telling us that we have changes in our file that have not yet been saved to the file. And it's very important to go ahead and save those changes, because if we don't, we run the file, it will not be running those changes. It'll be running the older version of the file. Okay, so we have this very simple code. It says print hello world. To run this file, we're going to open up our command prompt. So we're going to go to our search bar, type CMD for command prompt. That should greet you with this window here. I'll zoom in so you can see that a little easier. Okay, so this is our command prompt environment, and don't feel too overwhelmed by it. We only need to know 2 commands to get this thing to run. Well, really 3 commands. The first command we're going to learn is the dir if you're in Windows. If you're in Mac or Linux, it'll be the ls command. And this command is going to list all the files in the current directory. So what's a directory? A directory is the folder that we're currently looking at in the terminal. This C users austin.voigtston_anim, this is the user account that we're in right now. So I go here, it's going to list all my files that is in my user account, which is contacts, desktop, documents, downloads, etc. If I want to look at a different file folder, I can use the cd command, which stands for command directory. I'll clear this out. cd, there we go. And after this, I hit space and I put in the folder I want to look at. And the options available to me are the ones in the current directory I'm looking at, which is all of these here. And I would like to go to my documents because that's where I've saved this file. So I'm going to go cd. I'm going to spell documents. I'm going to press enter. And this should be the same for Mac. You do cd followed by the name of the folder. Okay, and notice how up here we just had my user account name. We still have it here, but now it says documents at the end. That's saying that we're looking at the documents folder now. So now I'm going to type dir because I'm on Windows. If you're a Mac user, you'll type ls, or if you're a Linux user, ls. That's going to list out the files in there. So I'm going to go to video lectures. So I'll do CD video lectures. And then I put CIDO, so I should make that a V. It's very important to get this named correctly. And also notice how this is uppercase V. It's case sensitive. If I were to put a lowercase v here, this would not work. And I'll go and show you that now. Oh, for Windows, it'll auto-correct it. But for Mac, I believe it has to be case sensitive. So if you're a Mac user, make sure you type it in uppercase V or lowercase v, exactly matching the case. Same for Linux. Okay, but for Windows, it's smart enough to tell. So dir and Python basics. So I'll do cd into Python basics, dir. And you won't go into all of these exact files. It's wherever you have stored and saved your file. So over here, back on Visual Studio Code, this path right here is telling us where the file is located at. And so we can navigate to that if you start out in your user account by going cd for me documents, then cd video lectures, etc., until we get to helloworld.py. Okay, so I'll do dir to see what's in here. You'll type ls if you're on other systems. There's my hello world py right there. To run this file, we're going to learn our third command here. We're going to say python and then type in hello world.py. Now you might notice that just jumped there. Whenever I typed in HE, then it jumped the rest of it. That's a little trick you can use. And it's to press the tab key once you've typed in a letter or two of your name. And that'll autocomplete what it thinks you're trying to fill out there. And because this is the only file in this folder, and I type in H, it's going to go and just throw the rest of that in there. And that's a little shortcut to get these names out there faster. So once I type that out, I'll press enter. And there we go. We printed out to the console, hello world. And that shows you what the print function does. Print will print out whatever message is in here or whatever is in there to our console right here. And that concludes this lesson here, and I'll see you in the next one.